Good morning. Oh God, that was high. You don't want that first thing in the morning. But it is Friday. My new team member starts on Monday, and I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to start from who this person is, how I know them, why they're employed, everything to do with their terms of employment. But something that's really important I want to talk to you about today is how I onboard new team members. I take it very, very seriously. In Go Proposal, so the startup company that we sold to Sage, I built out a huge new team member onboarding process, and that evolved over time. We used it for every single member of the team, and I just want to talk to you about it because it's a really, really important part of what I do, and I believe I'm not going to say a quick win, but it's a quick skill, like a quick hard skill that you can learn in your management role that I do think will set you apart from the rest. So first of all, give you a bit of an introduction to Levi, and it is morning coffee time. I bought this scarf. It's an Hermes scarf. I don't know how you say that, but Hermes is one of them brands where I used to work at Harrods, obviously, but at the time was completely skint, like had nothing left to my name at the end of the payday after paying rent and everything. And I always used to walk past Hermes and be like, maybe one day I'll get one of them. Be like, I'll do it, I know I will. And so I came home, I was literally just walking home from the gym, and I'd seen someone at an event with a scarf like this on, and I just thought it was beautiful. Like the design, it's real silk as well. It's just absolutely stunning. And I saw this person at an event, and I just, in my head, I was like, maybe it's time. And so I went to Hermes after the gym, like, God, it must have been like a month ago. I just walked in, and you know when normally you have that feeling where like you think people who go into designer shops, and I don't buy designer things, by the way, on a regular basis, but you know when you think people who like buy designer stuff, like you have to look good to go into the shop, you have to, I don't know, look or act a certain way, sound a certain way. And I was in my gym gear, I was a bit sweaty, I looked awful, and I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to go in. And the woman was so nice, the server woman, and I kind of said to her, I was like, sorry, I know I look for bad. She was like, what? No, like obviously making up for the fact that I was feeling insecure. She was so nice, and she got all these scarves out. So this was 180 British pounds, great British pounds, but it's beautiful and I love it, and it just felt a bit frivolous, but whatever. Anyway, back to the important stuff. So on Monday, my team member who's starting, she is called Levi. Levi worked with me at Go Proposal. So Go Proposal was the startup that we worked for 5 years, but we sold it to Sage midway through. So worked for the startup, sold it to Sage, and then we worked in corporate together. I brought Levi in, so I hired Levi as, I can't remember what the role was at the time, but it was something like executive assistant. And she was kind of coming in to help me and James, the founder, and the rest of the team with we needed someone who was just good at everything. And I know that's really, really rare and hard to find, but someone who was just very competent. We didn't really know what we wanted, but we just needed help. Levi absolutely aced every single inch of the interview. She speaks French and Spanish, so she'd done a degree in French and Spanish. And you know, people who know more than one language just impress me so much. So I think that was the first thing that I was like, this person is impressive. She aced every single part of the interview, like the task. She'd done so much research, like I can't even explain. We came out of the interview process, and I think there was 3 of us that had done the interview with her, and we had 5 people lined up for the final interviews, and we were like, she is just too good. Brought her in, and she was, honestly, we worked together, I want to say it was nearly 3 years, but she just absolutely revolutionised the business. Her standards are so high. Her competence in her work is just incredible. And so when I left Sage, and I was still working with Levi actually moved into the marketing team halfway through her work at Go Proposal /Sage. So picks up loads of marketing skills as well. She's also a content creator, so she runs her own business, like fitness business, but still wants to work full time. And so she's just incredible. So I always knew if/when I was to hire my first member of the team, I wanted to hire Levi. Like I always knew that. but I just didn't know if I could ever afford it. And so I kind of, when you have that in your mind, and the next time I hire someone, I will go through a proper process of interviews and whatever, but this time I was like, I need to hire Levi. But we got the business to a point where, I could afford her, and I spent 3 or 4 months like back and forth going, oh, should I daren't take the risk, I need to make sure everything's covered. The very last thing you ever want to do as a business owner is be in the position where someone has to lose a job. So I would never let that happen. So I was being very cautious. And I think it was like a week before the course launch in May, maybe 2 weeks before, I was sat on the sofa with my partner in the evening, and I was so stressed. I mean, every business owner will know this, but in the first year, you're kind of just you're working 15-hour days, you're doing 10 different jobs, you are doing everything, pulling everything in, and obviously you love it so much and have so much passion for it. But there is a point where it goes, I need help. And I'd reached that point, and my partner, I was sat on the sofa, and she just turns to me and she's like, ring Levi now. Take the plunge. And she just like, ring her now. So I did. I just FaceTime Levi, and I was like, do you want a job? By any chance, do you want a job? And then we obviously talked through the specifics. One of them being a 4-day work week. So it's really interesting. I don't know why more employers aren't picking up on the 4-day work week research, because I think everyone's just scared. Like, I don't actually care about productivity. Like, when I talk about whether people come into the office or not, whether people work 4 days or not, whether they, I don't know, have 2 screens, whatever, my intention in the workplace is not to make people as productive as humanly possible. Like, if we have a couple of days where we don't feel ourselves and we can't be bothered to be 100% productive and we just want to lay on the sofa, do a bit of washing, do a bit of cleaning, I'm fine with that. Like, that was the person that I was, but I knew on my days where I was 100, I could be like 150. And I knew that when I had deadlines, I would hit them. And I knew that when I had KPIs, I would drive towards them. But I don't want to be productive all the time. That's not what we're put on the earth to do. And so I don't want to build a business around, we have to be productive as much. How do we be as productive as possible? However, the 4-day work week research will actually show you it's more productive for your team to work 4 days a week. And do you know why I think it is? This didn't come out of the research, but if I think to my experience of being an employee, being a worker, I work to deadlines. So if my deadline is next Friday, I will complete the thing for next Friday. If my deadline is 2 p.m. today, I will get it completed for 2 p.m. today. And I think it's the same psychology that, like, when your deadlines are sooner, you just get it done sooner. And if they're further away, you might just hold off from doing something or hold off from starting something because you have a deadline that's further away. And so we're doing the 4-day work week. The other reason I wanted to do that was, this mug said, make today amazing. How cute is that? The other reason I wanted to do the 4-day work week is because I'm trying to build a business around freedom, which is funny when you think about the fact that I work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. But it's the first of all long-term goal, but second of all, I do have freedom because I work those long days when I choose to, but when I choose not to, I don't have to. And so I want to build a business around freedom. Like, when Levi comes in, we're going to be systemizing so many things because I don't want to have to. It's like with coaching clients, I will never take on more than 3 or 4 coaching clients. I've got 3 at the minute, and maybe take 1 more on, but I would never take more on because when you've got other people that you will never let down, it takes away that essence of freedom. Whereas when you have like digital products and you have digital education and you have content that you create and like educating people on YouTube, I can do this at any time of day. If I feel like rubbish one day, I can just go, it's fine, we'll not do it today, we'll do it tomorrow. And I wanted to build a business around freedom because the feeling of freedom for me is one of the most important. And So yeah, so that also is why we're doing the 4-day work week. But let's talk about onboarding a new team member and the things that I do to onboard a new team member, because I do think this can set you apart from the rest in your management role. So, I feel like we've got no company, and in fact, I don't think I've ever worked for a company, and I've worked for probably like 6 or 7 different companies properly in my career. I don't think I've ever had a proper onboarding training plan, even at Go Proposal when I started, because I built it. So when I started, we didn't have a training plan either. And a 90-day, so I do 90 days, a 90-day onboarding. In that, I will do, this is what I want you to do in the first week, first 30 days, first 60 days, and first 90 days. And it's almost like do they call it a Kanban style board? Is that what it is? Where it's like columns. And there's a few reasons. One, it prompts accountability in that person, because in the training it will be like, so for example, in the first 30 days, I'll usually want them to read a book, and it won't be like a really long, in-depth book. It'll be like quite a short non-fiction book. Or they can listen to it on audiobook, and we'll get them the books. And it will be, in the first 30 days, we want you to listen to this book, watch this YouTube video, and then we want to get you upskilled on these 4 tasks. And by the end of the 30 days, we want you to be able to be completing these tasks without anyone getting involved. And so it's that self-led accountability of, you know what you need to do, you go get the books, obviously they'll have access to the company money, you go get the books, you go and book in the training sessions, that's a big part of it as well, like get them to book in the training sessions with the right people to learn the tasks and have the process handed over to them. But also, I remember, and most of my like leadership skills, like kind of the hard skills, if you will, come from having a bad experience in the past. And this is why my workshop that I deliver online to workplaces is called Leadership 101, the presentation you wish your old boss had seen. Because everything that I have learned and built and then put into practice in Go Proposal was because of a bad experience that I had with a previous employer, and I never ever wanted a single member of my team to ever feel that way. And one of the reasons for the 90-day onboarding was that I'd started so many jobs where in the first day or the first week, I'd come into work and I'm like budding excited, like, let me do this. And I'm quite a fast learner as well. So I can usually pick things up quite quickly. And I would find myself like completing a task, let's say, in the first hour of the day, then maybe do another task. And then I'd be sat around like, do I ask them for something else to do? I don't want to annoy them. What if they think I've not done that task properly? Like, oh, now I'm bored. Now I'm sat here bored, and now it's only 2 p.m. or 11 a.m. and now I've got the rest of the day to think about. And so the reason this training plan is so valuable for team members is that they will never experience that. Because if ever they're bored, if ever they finish a task or they finish something they wanted to do in that day, they don't have to go through that process of feeling a bit silly and feeling a bit, I thought someone was coming to the office then, but it's next door, feeling a bit silly because they have everything. Like they can just go and pick and choose what they want to do off the training plan. It also gives them lots of freedom, because if there's, say, 10 things I want them to get through in the first month or the first week, they get to pick and choose. Like if one day they're just not feeling up to, I don't know, reading a full process doc, doing a training, understanding a new like hard skill that they need for their role, they can sit and watch a YouTube video, because maybe their brain just can't quite comprehend something as big as the task right now. So instead they can do something a little bit easier, a little bit like less brain thinking. So it gives them the freedom to choose like which bits of the training they want to do on any given day. So what I might do is, I'm not editing these YouTube videos because I just don't have the capacity to do it, and if I edited them I wouldn't be able to get them out. But I will show you when I've got it all finalised today. I'll probably do a video and I might post it. I'll post it on YouTube, but I might post a short version across like TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn as well, of exactly what goes into my 90-day training plans. because in there you want to have vision, you want to have values, you want to have hard skills training, soft skills training. If there's some sort of like book about your culture, as in, so for example, things that I love are like the radical candor concept about being honest and having honest conversations. The Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, which is about dropping ego and kind of like having really healthy discussions with your team members. They will all be in there, and it's almost like replaces probation, because I never liked probation and that word of that kind of thinking of someone being scared, because I remember that as well, like always being scared, or like, oh, am I going to pass probation? However, it is good to have like a 90-day engagement period. The light's gone off. To have like a 90-day engagement period where you are much more involved with that person, and at the end of it, they know whether or not they are where they need to be. And this is the other thing I have in there, I forgot to mention. At the end of the 30, 60 and 90 days, the team member will do a presentation to you, and it's their their responsibility to book that presentation in. They will do a short presentation with you about what they've learnt this month, what their key learnings and takeaways have been, what their big questions are, if they need extra support on anything. And having those, they're like self-led accountability. So it's to say, you develop this, you put time and effort and energy into this, but we have those secure check-in points at 30, 60, 90 days. They're pre-booked in, where we can understand, like, if you're absolutely acing this thing, we can give you more of it. You need a bit of extra support with this thing, so let's make sure I get some extra time with you to help you with that. But by the end of the 90 days, these are the metrics, these are the KPIs, these are the qualitative and quantitative things that I want you to be up to speed with. And if not, we can just extend the training period by a couple of weeks. And having that kind of like measurable way to understand whether your team member is getting up to speed quick enough, is where they need to be, is so valuable. And it's not necessarily a case of like pass or fail, you're good or bad. It's just a case of, do you need extra support? Like, are you someone who, I don't know, we might need to make extra accommodations for you, or you just might be really good at some things and not as great as at others. So can we get you more help in those things, or are they not going to be part of your job role, and we kind of get you to take something off someone else and swap those jobs? Like, so many things. But if you don't do a really solid 90-day training plan, you'll never find those things out. So I'm going to leave it there. It's her first day on Monday. I will do you an update after the first day. I'm very excited. I want to talk, I'm not going to do it in this video, but I want to talk to you a bit more about the business and like what we are planning for the rest of 2024, but mainly 2025. And what it's going to look like. I'm going through a huge brand transformation. We've got a brand specialist who is absolutely incredible, booked in. We've got our onboarding session with her on the 8th of July, and then we're doing a brand sprint, so there's going to be so much happening. I'll do like a big brand reveal. We're going to have, it's a whole thing. So I think most people now will just know me, Heather, Leadership Heather as my handles are, but I actually have a business aside from that, which runs, we have the courses, we have coaching, we have workshops, like online, in person, so much stuff that we need to separate the brand from me, even though a lot of it will still be my face and my teaching, but we're separating the brand from me. So yeah, I'll update you on all that. Leave a comment if there's anything you want me to talk about the next time I do one of these videos, let me know. But that is all. Bye. How do I turn it off?